and welcome to ENI UK and your petition. I'm Catalan MEPs reporting from London. We bring you news reports from around the United Kingdom and Europe, and we have live reporters on standby, ready to give their reports. On our program today, UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson reassures the public on the AstraZeneca vaccine and rollout plan. France puts Paris and other regions in limited lockdown. And joining us live this week, we have Arabelle Celestino. Nice to have you, Arabelle. What will you be reporting for us this week?
Well, Carlo, today I will be reporting about Prince William, who denied that the British royal family was raped.
Thank you so much. Also joining us from the United Kingdom, we have Rowana Arino. Thank you for joining us, Rowana. What news report will you be bringing us this week?
Hi, Giancarlo. So for my report, Uber wins praise for granting UK drivers worker status.
From our EBC Bureau in Spain, we have a report by Beverly Madrid on the European Parliament lifting immunity of Catalonia's former regional head of government and 2 former cabinet members. From EBC Russia, we get to experience this week how winter is in Moscow. This report will be brought to us by Emmy Coloma. And we'll end today's show, as always, with our view from our window. And this week, it's coming from Oslo City Hall. But first, back to those main news headlines. Prime Minister Boris Johnson reassures public on AstraZeneca vaccine and rollout plan. Britain insisted Thursday that its plan to ease coronavirus lockdowns in the coming months remains on track, despite a vaccine supply shortfall from India, which will hit the inoculation drive in April. Here is British Prime Minister Boris Johnson with the statement.
Always said that in a vaccination program of this pace and this scale, some interruptions in supply are inevitable. And it is true that in the short term, we're receiving fewer vaccines than we had planned for a week ago. That is because of a delay in a shipment from the Serum Institute, who are doing a Herculean job in producing vaccines in such large quantities. And as a result, we will receive slightly fewer vaccines in April than in March, but that is still more than we received in February. And the supply we do have will still enable us to hit the targets we have set. That means that by the 15th of April, we'll be able to offer a first dose to all of you who are over 50, as well as those under 50 who are clinically vulnerable.
The state-run National Health Service in England has warned in a letter to local vaccination centres that doses will be significantly constrained from March 29 for up to 4 weeks. The next phase of the inoculation campaign, covering people in their 40s, will have to be suspended until May, the letter said. The problem is linked to a delay in getting new jabs from the Serum Institute of India by UK-based drugs company AstraZeneca, the same company whose supply issues have caused anger in the European Union. But British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who plans to visit India next month, denied there was any export ban in place by the government in New Delhi, as it grapples with its own surge in COVID-19 cases. Paris, France, put under lockdown with other regions. Starting this weekend, 16 departments of France, including the region of Paris, go into a limited 4-week lockdown. The announcement comes as the government highlights a concerning rise in cases due to a third wave of the virus. On Thursday, close to 35,000 new infections were reported, The region of Paris has around 1,200 people in intensive care. This number is higher compared to that of the second wave in November. Hospital capacity in Paris is now saturated. This new lockdown will have lighter measures though. While shops selling non-essential goods will close, book and record shops will remain open. Leaving home will be allowed up to 10 kilometers from home, but will require a written form. The government is also moving the national curfew by 1 hour to 7 p.m. The country's vaccination campaign, which has been criticized to have had a slow start, is ongoing. It's time for a break now, but please come back for some more E&I UK and Europe edition.
Sino kaya ang makakalamang upang kunin ang huling pwesto sa March Monthly Finals?
Alam mo, pag hindi mo kasi ine-enjoy at nararamdaman yung awitin na yan, parang bitin, no? Parang sa rock band. Pumasok ka na kaya sa rock band.
This is Tagisan ng Galing Part 2, Singing Edition.
Iba't ibang kulay at disenyo. Yan ang industriya ng printing.
Simula po pagkabata, hilig ko na po talaga mag-drawing. Mga graphic art.
Ako nag-paint, ako nagle-layout.
Ano siya, unique kasi sa'yo galing yung design mo, ikaw lang yung magkakaroon ng ganon.
Tuturuan namin kayo kung paano gawin ito.
Doon nagkaroon ng idea na maggawa ng printing shop.
Isa-isa munang makina, una printer, tapos yung heater, tapos hanggang sa nabuo ko na siya.
Kung gusto mo talagang i-venture yung passion mo, maganda siyang business talaga.
Ako po, si Robin Padilla. At ito po ang ulat. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Welcome back to E&I UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom this week. Prince William has come to the defense of the British royal family after recent racism claims. Arabelle Celestino has the details. Hello, Arabelle.
Hi, Giancarlo, and yes, Prince William defended the British royal family after his young brother Harry and wife Meghan accused them of racism in an interview watched around the world. "We're very much not a racist family," William told reporters during a visit to a multiracial school in a deprived area of East London. The Duke of Cambridge, as he is formally known, is the first senior royal to speak out publicly about the explosive row that has engulfed Britain's most famous family. William, 38, said that he had yet to speak to Harry, 36, since the interview with the US chat show host Oprah Winfrey first aired in the United States earlier this month. Harry and his mixed-race spouse, Meghan, moved to California with their young son Archie last year after their shock announcement to step down as working royals. William and his wife Kate are increasingly involved in promoting mental health support, particularly through the coronavirus pandemic. William and Kate's visit to School 21 in Stratford, East London last week was to mark the return of children to classes after 2 months of coronavirus lockdown that forced lessons into online lessons. They are also rolling out to secondary schools a mental health project that Kate launched in primary schools 3 years ago. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Arabelle. Could we also ask what are the wider implications now after these racism claims?
Well, Giancarlo, the Queen has said that Harry and Meghan's allegations will be addressed in a private manner, lowering expectations of any public statement about the conclusions. This whole affair has plunged the monarchy into crisis and is being keenly watched around the world. The Queen is also a head of state in 15 mainly non-white Commonwealth countries, and in one newspaper commentator called the allegations a soft power disaster for Britain, given the royal family's global brand. And there have been repercussions too in the media, which Harry and Meghan accused of racially biased, unfavorable coverage with renewed calls for newsrooms and that are to be made more representative. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you again for joining us today, Arabelle.
Thank you so much for having me today. Reporting from the United Kingdom, I'm Arabelle Celestino. We live in interesting times.
Okay, another story from the United Kingdom where Uber drivers in the United Kingdom have been able to get worker status. Roanna is here with us with a report. Hi, Roanna.
Hi, Giancarlo. So, US ride-hailing giant Uber won praise from Britain's government and trade unions after granting UK drivers worker status with associated rights, including a minimum wage, sparking hopes that more technology platforms will follow suit worldwide. Uber revealed that it is handing UK drivers worldwide entitlements including holiday pay and the pension, in the world's first for the group that also marked a major U-turn. London Uber drivers react to their granted worker status. Let's listen.
Well, it's a good step in the right direction, but I don't think it's fully there yet, as we're supposed to be paid from log on to log off, not just when the passenger's in the car. So there's a few things that need adjusting and looking into. Hopefully that will come along, because times are hard for everyone at the moment, especially with the expenses that we have of doing this, with fuel, insurance, the price of your vehicle, and it all adds up. I don't know much about the pension fund, but it's good that I'm going to be now in a pension. The holiday pay will be paid fortnightly to us on what we've earned for the prior fortnight, so that's good. At least we're getting some extra money that we can put away if we want to take some time off for holidays.
At the moment, I'm free. I start the work whatever time I like and then finish whatever time I like. At the same time also, if I want to go on holidays, I choose any time, any day, and then come back any time. And as soon as I come back that same day, I can just start working. So if I'm losing this type of freedom, then I want to see that what is coming is really beneficial.
The Silicon Valley company's 70,000 drivers across Britain will now earn at least the national living wage when driving for the taxi app. The move came after London's Supreme Court last month ruled that Uber's UK drivers were entitled to the rights. In a landmark decision for the nation's estimated 5.5 million people working in the so-called gig economy. The term used to describe a labor market characterized by the prevalence of short-term contracts or freelance work, as opposed to permanent jobs. Giancarlo?
Thank you. Could you also tell us what was the previous condition then before of our Uber drivers? Before this, they were given their workers' entitlements.
Well, Giancarlo, Uber's change of heart following a protracted legal battle with drivers was absolutely to be welcomed, mentioned by Business Minister Kwasi Kwarteng to Sky News. He said that the new phase of our economy should be about protecting workers' rights, driving higher standards, and driving new technologies. British labor law distinguishes between workers who can receive the minimum wage and other benefits, and employees who have formal contracts. Uber UK drivers were previously classified as self-employed, in line with many other gig economy firms, attracting fierce criticism from trade unions. Uber's announcement should mark the end of the road for bogus self-employment, said GMB trade union official Mick Ricks. The decision opens the door for workers and their unions to win the fight for better pay and conditions at companies across the gig economy. Francis O'Grady, General Secretary of the TUC, Britain's trades union umbrella organization, also called to tech platforms to do more. Gig workers deserve the same basic rights as everybody else. Unions won't rest until pay and conditions have improved across the gig economy, O'Grady said. Giancarlo?
How does this decision, though, over the Uber drivers gaining work entitlement influence other workers under the gig economy?
Well, Giancarlo, Uber's strategy shift comes amid increasing global awareness of the plight of workers in the gig economy, in particular as app-based delivery firms experience booming demand during coronavirus lockdown. Spain last week became the first European Union member nation to recognize riders working for companies like Deliveroo and Uber Eats as salaried staff after complaints about working conditions. The EU is meanwhile conducting a consultation on the rights of gig economy workers in the region, addressing aspects including employment status and access to social protection.
Thank you so much for joining us this week and for bringing us that news story, Rana.
Thank you. I'm Rowena Bianca Arino, reporting for Eagle News, and we'll live in interesting times.
Okay, it's time for another break now, but please come back for some more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Susunod sa Kesaya-saya!
It's cooking time! Kainan sa Barangay Aguila!
Kaya naman naghahanap ako ng mga representative natin dito para isali ko siya sa Interbarangay Coco. Dumori ka to, gozaimasu. Hoy!
Isa pa!
Ang nanalo sa project ay walang iba kundi si...
Sumaya tayong lahat! Kesaya-saya! Tuwing linggo, alas 6:30 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25. Kap, halika. Kap, teka. Uy, tubig! Kap! Tubig!
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from Europe this week. The EU lawmakers have waived the immunity of Carles Puigdemont and two of his former cabinet members. We have a report from Beverly Madrid. Let's look at her report.
Spain's foreign minister called out to the European Parliament's decision to waive the immunity of the three wanted Catalan MEPs, although reactions were divided on the streets of Catalonia. The decision relates to former regional president Carles Puigdemont and two others who are wanted by Madrid over their role in the failed Catalan independence bid of 2017, which caused Spain's worst political crisis in decades. Puigdemont showed his approval of the decision, calling it a sad day for the European Parliament and also stating he and the other two MEPs were victims of political persecution.
It is a sad day for European Parliament. We have lost our immunity, but the European Parliament has lost more than that. And as a result, European democracy too. This is a clear case of political persecution.
According to Foreign Minister Arantxa González Laya, the decision conveyed a very clear message that the problems of Catalonia should only be solved in Spain, bringing all the Catalan forces in a conference because it will not be solved in Europe or by Europe. So the Spanish government welcomed the news after several years of seeking their extradition.
Y con esta decisión lanzan un triple mensaje. En primer lugar, que un eurodiputado no puede prevalerse de su condición para protegerse de comparecer ante justicias nacionales por posibles violaciones de legislaciones nacionales. Un segundo mensaje de solidez del Estado de Derecho de España, de respeto al trabajo de la justicia española.
Puigdemont fled Spain for Belgium in late 2017 to evade prosecution following the failed bid for an independent state in the wealthy northeastern Spanish region. The other two are the former Catalan health and education ministers Clara Ponsati and Toni Comín. All three of them are wanted on sedition charges over the organization of a banned referendum on independence, while Puigdemont and Comín are also facing accusations of misuse of public funds. Comín, like Puigdemont, has been living in Belgium, while Ponsati is based in Scotland, where authorities had put her deportation on hold while awaiting the EU decision. However, Puigdemont has declared that he intends to appeal the decision. As MEPs since 2019, all three had benefited from immunity from prosecution, but according to a European Parliament official, their lives could become complicated as they currently have the possibility of being sent back to Spain to face trial and potential prison. And in January, a Belgian court declined to release a European arrest warrant targeting another former Catalan regional minister, Lluís Puig, stating there was a risk that he would not receive a fair trial. Around 100 people assembled on the streets of Barcelona to demonstrate against the EU decision, showing placards calling for an amnesty for the trio. But opinions were mixed on the streets of Catalonia, which has long been decided over the tricky question of whether or not the region should become independent from Spain. Although Puigdemont and several others fled abroad to escape justice, Spain charged 9 other separatist leaders who in 2019 were giving heavy jail terms of up to 13 years. In another legal proceeding for the separatists, a Spanish court recently revoked the low-risk status handed to 7 of those prisoners. Since January, all 9 had benefited from a semi-open regime, allowing them to work on weekdays and spend weekdays at home. For now, the courts have yet to rule on whether the same ruling will apply to the other 2 prisoners, both women. Since taking office in 2018, Spain's socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has called for a cooling of tensions concerning Catalonia and offered negotiations with the regional authorities, but the conference have yet to begin due to the pandemic. Reporting from Barcelona, Spain, I'm Beverly Madrid. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Beverly, for bringing us that important update from Madrid, Spain. Before this year of winter season comes to an end, let's head over now to Moscow for a winter fun adventure. This report is brought to us by Emmy Coloma. Let's watch.
Visitors.
Winter snow gives so much excitement, especially to those who come from tropical countries. We can see captivating sceneries. The ground is coated in a hefty blanket of solid white snow that glitters whenever the sun shines. Kids also get very excited during this season. They can make a snowman, catch snowflakes falling, go ice skating, and some even get to go skiing. To those who remember their first time seeing and touching snow, they remember that moment very well. How they were really amazed and mesmerized just like kids. Feeling the cold snow on their hands and maybe even lying down on a soft blanket of white snow. People also take a lot of photos to capture snow moments, especially when Moscow experienced its coldest winter after 30 years, covered in heavy tons of snow. Snow sometimes makes us feel relaxed because of the beauty of the white color coating the surroundings. And it's even more stunning when the white of snow is combined with dim lights at parks at night. Enjoy snowy days while it's the season. Feel its beauty and the peace it brings while you are walking on it. Reporting from Moscow, Russia, this is Emmy Coloma, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Emmy and EBC Russia, for that fun report. We will end today's show with our view from our window, and we go to Oslo, Norway. You can see the Oslo City Hall, which was inaugurated in 1950 and houses the city's administrative body and the seat of the city council. The building is decorated with Norwegian art that represents the country's history, culture, and working life. It is open to the general public, and it also serves as the venue for the Nobel Peace Prize award ceremony that takes place on December 10th of each year. This view is courtesy of Rona Balbin. Thank you so much, Rona, for this view. So that's it for today's program. We hope you stay safe and keep positive as we bring you more stories next week from around the United Kingdom and Europe. I'm Jakarta Matera, and we live in interesting times.